Jagajag.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to speak briefly on this very important bill and reform for this parliament. I, like so many others who have been in this place for some time now, have been very clear that we need to do things differently here, that we cannot have a parliament that tolerates, that allows for instances of bullying, sexual harassment and sexual assault to occur in this building and in Commonwealth parliamentary workplaces around the country. And fixing this is part of what this bill will do. So it is very, very important work for this parliament. It is important work about how we must do better. I want to be really clear to people in this place and to people in the Australian community that it is not okay for people in this parliament to think that this is something that Australian people don't really care about. That actually, as long as we're getting on with passing bills and making laws, they don't care what our standards are, they don't care what our behaviour is. It's just not true. I also want to tackle the assumption that some people put forward that this is such a special and unique workplace that we couldn't possibly have the types of rules and standards that other workplaces have in place. In fact, because this is a special workplace, because this is the workplace that sets the rules for workplaces around the country, is one of the reasons why it is so important that we hold ourselves to the highest possible standards and that we have the structures in place to help us hold ourselves to the highest possible standard. And that's what this bill will do. I know that Australians are with us as we continue to call out the failures, the mistakes, the terrible things that have happened in this parliament in the past, and as we commit ourselves to the changes that this parliament needs to see. This must be a safe workplace for all people. It must be a place that people feel they can contribute in, behave in appropriately and be safe. I pay tribute to people across the parliament who have done a wealth of good work to get us to this point, particularly the Minister for Women, the Member for Newcastle and many others who have championed this reform and the work that is yet to come. I pay tribute to the people outside of this parliament who shared their stories, who raised their voices, who demanded change, who made sure that we could not leave things as they were. And I thank the former Sex Discrimination Commissioner, Kate Jenkins, for giving us a blueprint for reform. It is because of all of these people standing up and doing the good work that they have done that we are going to have a better parliament, that we are going to be representatives who do our jobs in the manner in which they should be done and in the manner in which the Australian people should expect us to do it, and that the Australian people can have confidence and workers and staff in this place can have confidence in going about their work, that they are in a better environment that does hold perpetrators of bullying, harassment or assault to account. We have made progress and there is more to come. We do need fundamental cultural change in this parliament, and I do still believe that that will only happen when we have stronger structures in place to protect women, when there are strong consequences for men's actions and when we get the subsequent behaviour change from that piece. So this piece that flows from the Set the Standard report, which comes from the hundreds of individuals who shared their experiences of working in parliament and in other Commonwealth parliamentary workplaces, is so important. That report heard that for too many people, these workplaces have not been safe environments. That's been driven by power imbalances, by gender inequality and by exclusion and by a lack of accountability. And these experiences have left a trail of devastation for individuals and their teams, and they've undermined the performance of our parliament to the nation's detriment. That is part of what we are trying to address here today. It is important. Deputy Speaker, I want to briefly address the work that still needs to happen. In addition to the great addition of the PWSS that we are putting in place with this bill, we do also still need to work towards the introduction of another part of the Set the Standard report's recommendations, the new Independent Parliamentary Standards Commission. This is a key part of making sure that we are held to account for poor behaviour. It is a key part of making sure that there are consequences, that people know there is an independent structure that will deal with complaints, with issues brought against parliamentarians and other people in this workplace. It is not beyond this parliament to hold ourselves to account. It is not beyond us to have consequences for members and others in this place who do not behave in the way that they should in this workplace. This is a fundamental standard that we must hold ourselves to. This bill does good work on the way to putting in place some of the structures and reforms we must have. There's more work to do. I look forward to joining with colleagues and the government as we do